And here we go. Welcome in to another edition of Bucky and BK. Today is Friday, March 27th, 2026. And the Buck and I are with you for the next 2 hours. On today's show, the magical ride is over. Texas basketball season came to an end last night in the Sweet 16 against Purdue. We will recap the heartbreaking loss for Texas in San Jose. Let you hear from Sean Miller and Jordan Pope and put a bow on year one of the Sean Miller era. It wasn't all bad, though, last night for the Longhorns. Texas baseball with a series opening rout of Oklahoma. We'll talk about that. We'll get into Texas women's basketball Sweet 16 game tomorrow against Kentucky. Little Longhorn football chatter, some more March Madness, and Evan Veith of Inside Texas will join the program as well. A lot to dive into in the world of sports and beyond. We appreciate y'all spending some of your Friday with us. Happy Friday to each and every one of you out there, and a happy Friday to you, my man. How are you today?
I am doing well, man, and hopefully you are over what happened last night. That is a tough defeat right there. That's a tough way to go down, but it's a really good year for the Longhorns basketball wise. It's a great start for Sean Miller, and boy, oh boy, it's just tough to go down that way. That's just been a team that has learned some things, but it's a team that, when it gets to the end, sometimes they do some kind of weird things, like missing free throws. Not big things, just the small things that get you to move on. They had done right, but then in a crucial game, in some crucial situations, they turn the ball over. They shoot 53% at the free throw line, and that just sucks. Those are free throws. Those are for free. 53%, like I was telling you before the show, that's like my high school shooting percentage when I played high school basketball. I was awful at the free throw line. I should have done the Wilt Chamberlain and done an underhand. I wasn't jumping over people, but when I got to the free throw line, I was terrible. I was like 66%. I was awful.
Oh, hold on. You said 53%. Now it's up to 66.
Well,
That's a big difference.
I was in the 60s. That's the same. It's the same in the 60s and 50s. That's pretty bad for a guy who's not a big scorer who gets to the free throw line and shoots in the 60s. But 53% for a college basketball team, that you needed those. Those are the ones that cost you the game.
Well, if Texas shot 66% like you did, They might have won last night. Yeah. So there's a big difference between that. Yeah.
Been damn close, that's for sure. That's just a tough way to go out.
Yeah, we'll dive into it. Obviously, a heartbreaker. Texas falls to Purdue 79-77, the final. Trey Kaufman-Wren, the game-winning tip-in with 0.7 seconds left to break the tie and obviously break the hearts of Longhorn fans everywhere. A lot to be proud of. What a run. I think Texas basketball exceeded expectations, especially considering the way that they were playing going into this tournament. But that one is going to sting for a while because they were right there. They had their chances to win, and felt like after Dalen Swain had that and one that we were on our way to overtime. And, oh, man, Lady Luck is going to stay on Texas's side, and the clock is not striking midnight tonight. But unfortunately, that was not the case.
No, it was not. Good day to the soldiers at Fort Hood, Texas, the soldiers in the state of Texas, and all those that fight for us each and every day. Thank you for what you do. We do appreciate what you do. To you, to your families, thank your families for sharing you with all of us. And do be safe out there. And once again, as you're on your way back in California, keep your head on a swivel everywhere you go, my friend. Please do.
Yeah, I'll be flying Alaska Airlines for the first time.
Yeah, I've been on that. They were okay when I was going out to that part of the country. I didn't have too much problems with them, but weren't they the ones that had the doors falling off and stuff?
Uh-oh.
Or was that Delta? No, I think that was Alaska Airlines that had a door fly open or some panels. They've had their problems too.
So why are you going to tell me that like hours before I'm about to get on one of their planes?
Because it doesn't matter. You got to get on anyway. So go ahead. Just think of the number one. Hey, think of the numbers that land all the time. That's what I always think. When I'm in a plane and I get that turbulence going, you know what the first thing I think of? Think how many of these go through turbulence all the time and land safely. Why are you going to be the one? Because I'm on it? I'm thinking to myself, yeah, because I'm on it. That's why.
If I die in a plane crash ever, then it's just my time. Like, that's
there it. There you go.
Meant to be. So hopefully that is not my situation today, but thanks for the horrifying thought. I was already scared enough going through TSA. Now I've got to worry about panels and doors flying off in the middle of the sky.
Yeah, I always wonder, who's that guy? Will somebody tell me? Because I haven't looked it up, but I'm always the Alaskan guy on the side of the was that the first president, the first Eskimo president of Alaska or something that's on the side of the plane? Who is that guy? Who is that frontier man on the side? Someone please tell me that's flown Alaska Airlines or knows about Alaskan history. I just look at it, he looks like a lumberjack or something. But there's a dude on the side of the plane. It's not an animal, it's not a bird, it's a dude's face. I'm trying to figure out who's the first man in Alaska.
I think it's Tecumseh or some Native American.
I don't know. I don't know what that dude is. I'm trying to figure that. I've been trying to. I will find out. No, one of you people will tell us.
Yeah, the people always know. They always know. Oh, man. All right, well, we'll let you hear from Sean Miller right off the bat. Plenty of sound from the coach throughout today's show, but here was Sean Miller's opening statement following the Horns' season-ending loss to Purdue.
Yeah, there's a stark contrast between being here after a loss and being here after a win in this tournament. And just having done it 3 times already with these guys, it's obviously this is the tough part of it all. But, my thoughts about just our team would be this, that, I don't know if I've been a part of a team that's come so far in such a short period of time as these guys. I've used the word resilience to describe our guys, our group, our team. I think it's very appropriate. And, tonight's game against Purdue embodies it. I mean, it was on full display. We're very, very proud of these guys. It ends in a really tough way when you lose these close games. But I would much rather lose a heartbreaker than go away the other way. And I thought it was a terrific game. Wish Purdue a lot of luck moving forward.
Yeah, I like the sentiments of, in a tough game when your team fought hard to go out that way, and you've been playing hard. Like you said, none of the wins that they've had all year were easy. I mean, it just seemed like they struggled. They just when they win, it's something very special, and it's always been a struggle. It's not been easy for them. And like I said, they just do some of the weirdest things. Some of the weirdest things happen to them. Kendall Weaver gets a nice tap in. He's over the rim. But then, 3 minutes before that, he takes 2 jumpers, 3-point jumpers. After the first one he took, I was going, please don't take this one. Please don't take this 3-point. He took them, and it was like, no, it's almost like, no, don't do it. Don't do it. But then out of nowhere, the guy comes in with a big tap in. So that's when I thought things weren't going to go right, BK, is when he took the 2 back-to-back jumpers, 3-point jumpers, that he didn't hit. I was like, damn, this may not be their night.
He can make them. I mean, obviously he's not a great 3-point shooter, but clearly Purdue was comfortable with him getting those threes off. And look, Nick Cody made a 3. I mean, Cody had a chance early in the game. He was wide open at the top of the key. He passed it up. The second time around, the ball found him, same spot, top of the key, no one within 10 feet of him. He took the shot and he made it. So, look, do I want those guys shooting?
Let me ask you this. Did Cody on Smith's drive to the hoop, did he just – no, that was Swain that was on it, was it not, or was it Cody? Somebody got a switch off that it was either a switch off or they just had him flat out.
Yeah, that was the second to last Purdue bucket. That was Nick Cody who got switched on Braden Smith at the top.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that was a switch off. I was like, damn, that's not going to work, bro.
Yeah, Purdue got the matchup they wanted. They ran a pick and roll. They got Cody on Smith, and Purdue was up 1. I think it was 73-72 at that point. And that was the lay-in that made it 75.
The main bucket,
yeah, that made it to the 3-point game. And then Modest Vokatitis, missed a lot of free throws. Everyone on Texas did last night. I'll give him credit. Hit 2 huge ones in the final minute when Purdue was doing the hack a Modest thing, right? As soon as Modest touched the ball, they fouled him, sent him to the free throw line. It was a 1-and-1. If he misses the front end of the free throw, the game's probably over. Purdue's got the ball. They're up by 3, and Texas is fouling in the final 20 or so seconds. To Modest's credit, he made those 2 to keep Texas in the game.
He did.
And obviously the Longhorns were able to tie it shortly after with the Dalen Swain and 1. What a clutch free throw. What an amazing bucket by him. But, obviously the final possession. You got the initial stop. Kendall Weaver was guarding Braden Smith on that one. Smith missed the lay-in, but, of course, Trey Flopman Wren That's what I'm
Yeah,
calling
that
him.
dude,
'Cause that guy,
that guy was on the ground and holding all night long. I just thought there were a lot of, I just thought it was nice, rough play, and there's a lot of fouls that they didn't need to call, but there was also some that I think Purdue got away with some hooking fouls.
yeah.
But and for me, because I asked you this too, because I was so going back and forth with baseball, I was like, it was driving me nuts, and I should have just left the base because I was waiting for the comeback in baseball. I was waiting to see if they had seven. As soon as they had 7 runs, I was like, oh shit, here it comes. Here they come. There's going to be a comeback coming here soon. So I got to stick around and see what happened. But I was thinking if that play had just gotten off, but you told me there was a timeout after that, and Bocatitis was on the bench. I'd still need to have it wasn't like they needed a 3-pointer. They just needed a bucket. And I know he wasn't a great rebounder last night, but I got to have somebody near the rim for just getting in the way. That just seemed too easy.
Let's get to that right now, because Sean Miller was asked about it, and I know there are a lot of Texas fans and folks around the country who feel like Sean Miller made a mistake by leaving Modest Vocatitis on the bench for that final possession. Obviously, Trey Kaufman-Wren, who was the biggest guy on the floor for Purdue at the time. Their starting center, Oscar Clough, had fouled out, and I think that's why Modest was on the bench, because that was the guy he was guarding. And since he wasn't in the game, I think Sean Miller felt like Modest didn't need to be in the game. But here was the response from Coach Miller when he was asked last night why Modest was not on the floor for that final possession.
Big fella, Clough fouled out. So Wren would have played the 5, and he just a really difficult matchup for a game-winning play, especially for Modest. I think a strong drive, putting him in a position to do that, and Modest having 4 fouls on top of that, it had not worked out very well for us in the game. So by playing quicker or smaller, we could switch that and really defend the drive in a better fashion, because Modest can't really switch. Like, you can't put Modest on Braden Smith on a switch. So look, we did get the stop. They got us with their size on the offensive rebound, and many times a game is won and lost not on the first shot but on the second. And we could have done a better job of blocking out or competing. But the number one thing for us to have a chance today was to rebound with Purdue. And if you look at the stat sheet, it became about even. But I just felt like we really, really struggled to rebound on defense. In the first half especially, they just got a bunch of second shots. And ironically, they ended up winning the game with their second shots. They're big and physical, and we really felt that throughout the game.
Yeah, and they hung with them too for a long, long period of time. I mean, if that's a regular season game, who knows? Or an SEC game, Swain may have been a foul over the back. Swain got pinned. Or did he get pinned inside? I mean, I don't know. I know the guy got his left hand up there and tipped it back in, but physically, Swain got dumped way underneath the basket there. I don't know if he could have backed out. I mean, that could have easily been called a foul over the top.
Should have been called a foul over the top.
Okay, so I was kind of right on that. I was just thinking maybe they're going to let that play. Sometimes they'll let it play, but if that's in a regular season game, I could see that even being called.
Well, it's just annoying because Trey Flopman-Wren, got away with murder last night. That guy was hooking and holding and pushing and shoving all game long, and they didn't call it.
And then he was on the ground a lot. I'm like, why is that guy on the ground?
Well, every time someone on Texas breathed on him, he would fall down. And look, he's a senior. He's smart. Don't blame him for the refs calling everything. But every time that guy would get slightly grazed, he would hit the deck and the refs would call a foul. And a huge difference in this game. Buck, Purdue shot 2 free throws as a team in the first half. 2 free throws as a team in the first half. They shot 18 in the second half. So I know this Texas team has had the virus, and fouling has been a problem for this team all year long. But it's something that happens way too much in college basketball, not just in this game, not just at Texas. It happens all over the country, where in the first half of a game, the refs will let them play. The refs will let them play. And then in the second half, it's almost like at halftime, the refs will go to their locker room and they'll get together and they'll be like, we're not getting enough TV time here, y'all. Like, our kids are at home watching us. They don't want us to think that we're failures. that were just here doing a cardio workout. They want to see us. They want to be proud of their officiating dad on TV. So we've got to call a lot more. And that's what yesterday was. The refs totally changed. They were letting just about everything go in the first half, and then Purdue's in the bonus with like 12 minutes left in the second half. They're in the double bonus with 6 minutes left. Anytime Kaufman-Wren hits the ground, they call a foul. And then, of course, one of the most obvious calls of the night that they could have made, Dalen Swain getting shoved. He got hooked and he got shoved under the basket on that rebound. The refs decide to swallow the whistle, and that's it. Like, look, Texas, they were their own worst enemy at times. The refs are not the only reason that the Longhorns lost that game. But, boy, I would have loved for Texas to have gotten a slightly more favorable whistle than they did.
Yeah, I just thought that play was one of those plays that generally, he couldn't move back. He was pinned underneath there. I mean, physically.
He got shoved. He got shoved under there. Like, that's an over the back. That is like a dictionary picture of that. He shoved him, went over his back, and tipped it in. Like, that was a foul. And look, in the final seconds in games, it's not the first time. It won't be the last time where you see refs swallow their whistle.
Oh, no, they just let him go ahead and tip it around or do whatever you have to.
It's just frustrating because in the second half, it felt like they were calling everything, especially against Trey Kaufman-Wren. And the fact that he's the guy that got away with that will never sit well with me, Buck.
Yeah, I didn't like him falling down. He's too big and athletic to be on the ground all the time with the little puny ones that Texas had against him. I'm like, why are you laying on the ground? What are you falling down for? You've been knocking guys all over the place, but when they come near you, you hit the ground. That was bogus to me. But when Welch was in the game, and then Swain, those guys, those turnovers, those like 3 turnovers, and those guys trying to throw the ball across the court over the top to the other side against Purdue's defense. Those guys were just like sitting there like center fielders, like safeties, just waiting for you to. And boy, they had like 3 in a row that were just. I was like, oh, that's just bad basketball for them.
Yeah. Texas only had 7 turnovers as a team, but there were some very untimely ones in the second half. There's no doubt. I mean, Dalen Swain had 5 of those 7 turnovers. He did a lot of good things. He only had 4 points, and I did a little halftime video that I posted to social media. Dalen Swain had 4 points on, I think, 2 of 7 shooting in the first half. And it's like, if Texas is going to win this game, they need their best player to do a heck of a lot more. And you could tell at halftime, Sean Miller told Dalen Swain, like, dude, you got to be more aggressive, because there was a different version of Dalen Swain that we saw.
Yeah, he was in the paint a lot. He was down in the paint in the second half.
Yeah, but unfortunately, some of that aggression did lead to a couple of turnovers at times, and those were costly. But Texas did, like so many of the things that we talked about, Buck, on yesterday's show when we previewed the game, Texas did right. I mean, my biggest key was defending the 3-point line. Purdue was 4 for 20 from deep. They started the game 2 for 2. Remember, Lawyer hit those 2 threes early at 6-0, and I'm like, uh-oh.
Yeah,
this could get out of hand.
The guy that the texter said, who the hell is that guy? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the rest of the game, though, they were 2 of 18 after that from 3. So Texas did that well. I wanted the Longhorns to crash the offensive glass. Yes, Sean Miller's right. He talked about it. Texas got crushed on the defensive glass, but the Longhorns had 12 offensive rebounds.
Yes.
They kept it to single-digit turnovers. They didn't have a lot of fouls in the first half. There was a lot of good. Texas was making their threes. Obviously, Tremont Mark, I can't believe we've gone 19 minutes without talking about how freaking good he was last night. There were so
he
many
and Pope
things.
busted on ankles like that. I mean, they sucked it up. Pope sucked it up from the get-go.
Yeah, I mean, those guys deserve a ton of credit, and Texas did so many things right in this game. Obviously, it's why they had a chance and why this game was tied in the final seconds, but they were their own worst enemies. Some bad turnovers, obviously, the free throws. I mean, you miss 7 in a game, you lose by 2.
Yes.
Easy to do the math right there, and they couldn't get big stops late. Look, the Longhorns, this was a game we wanted it in the 70s. We felt like if it got into the 80s or 90s, it was advantage Purdue. You wanted it in the 70s, and that's why Texas was right there. But down the stretch, the Longhorns, I mean, Braden Smith got that easy layup, and then obviously the tip in on the offensive rebound. Just that one, they needed one more big stop, Buck. They got a number of them throughout the game, but they couldn't get that big one in the final.
Yeah, that's Sean Miller's right. They just got one more than they got. That's what happened in that game.
That's what it was.
That's all it takes.
Yeah, it's cliche, Buck. It's coach speak in any sport, right? But sometimes it's whoever has the ball last wins the game.
Yes.
And that was last night. Like Purdue, this was not a 2 versus 11. At least it didn't look like it. It looked like a 2 versus a 3. Hell, it looked like a 2 versus a 2. But, Purdue had the ball last. They had the final shot. They make it. See you later.
Yeah, this is just, and like I said, it's a good first year, but it's an awful, if there were a bunch of those guys coming back, this would be great. If they had a few of those guys coming back, that's how you learn how to, now you learn how to win by not doing really weird things late in games and making your free throws. You just kind of grow into being really a good solid basketball team. When UConn won those couple in a row, they were so solid. They didn't miss free throws. They did never turn the ball and give it to you at the end of a game where you could then turn it around and beat them. They beat you that way. This is a team that looks like this is going to be a great learning experience, but a lot of those guys are going to be gone.
Yeah, it'll be a very different roster next
Yeah,
season.
but the coach will be the same, and he can look back at a bunch of film and say, you know what, there's only that little thing that we could have done, and we'd have won that game or that game or that game. A lot more wins could have come out. They've had some really small things that have cost them games, and this one last night was basically go to the free throw line. No matter what you haven't done well, just go to the free throw line and shoot better than 53%. Come on, guys.
Yeah, free throws will kill you in this tournament. Yeah. I've seen it a million times before, and I'll see it a million times again. Heck, we all will, right? Make your free throws in games that are this close in this dance. You have to cash in on your freebies. And, Texas was a very good free throw shooting team during the regular season, but even in their tournament wins, they couldn't make them. They just couldn't make them. Different rims, different environments, pressure, whatever the reason, it killed them. And Purdue missed 5 free throws themselves, but here's more math for you. They missed 5, Texas missed 7, the Longhorns lost by 2. So even if you went 10 of 15 from the line, which we wouldn't be super thrilled with, but even if you went 10 of 15 from the line, then all right, do the math, you're getting to overtime in this game. But 8 of 15 in that one, that's going to hurt.
Yeah, and Purdue got out and ran a little bit. They had 14 points on turnovers. They took off. They felt comfortable enough that, like, they were going to dominate the boards, where their guys got out and they were gone.
Yeah, now they did take advantage. I mean, Texas only had 7 turnovers. Again, not a lot at all, but Purdue had 14 points off of those 7 turnovers. Yeah. So maybe there was a 3 in there. I don't know. It could have been 7 twos, but Purdue made Texas pay. They didn't screw up a lot, but when they did, look, it's the number 1 offense in the country for a reason. They do a lot of things right on that side of the ball, and if you gift them free opportunities,
you can't make any mistakes against them. You can't give them any opportunities. They're just going to take advantage. They're too good. They were too talented. But I did like the fact that I thought Texas matched the physicality, except for on that last play. Like I said, that's an easy either over the back or where the hell happened to Swain? Where did he go disappear when he was underneath the back? At first he was on the other side of the rim, and then when the guy goes for the tip in, that dude is lost. You don't even see him anymore. Like, did he just get bullied down that bad? But I thought they fought hard because they had a couple guys. I mean, when Tremaine Martin, when he went down with that ankle, that dude, I thought he busted his ankle the way he turned it over and the way he was hobbling around. He just sucked it up. And Pope, he was limping from the get-go.
Yeah, well, back to the foul for a moment, and then we'll get back to the injuries here. But, I mean, it was a clear foul on Trey Coffin-Wren. It's hard enough to beat Purdue when the refs are helping you out. But, Buck, I could see from up here.
Yeah, I saw that shot. When you told me that was your seat, I said, that's pretty deep there, brother, isn't it?
These were my seats.
That's not through our boy Shelby there, that's for sure.
No. Well, this is you see, I mean, I don't know if you could see because I was so far away that this picture is not going to give you the clearest view. I guess if you were watching on TV, you could see that a lot of the media was sitting courtside. Well, I'm not worthy to be courtside, apparently. Like Kirk Bowles, Cedric Golden, our guy Eric Henry, the guys and gals who cover Texas basketball and all of these teams all year long, I guess they get the nice seats. But the guy who shows up for one game, hey, we're going to send you up to the rafters at the SAP Center. Hope you're not scared of heights, BK. Good luck.
Wow, did they have a concession stand even up that high?
No, they didn't even have waters, dude. I kid you not, Buck. There were plenty of seats because, like, I think for Sharks hockey games, that's where the press sits. So there's plenty of seats up there. But there were 10 people sitting up top where I was. I'm not exaggerating at all. There were 10 total people. And think about it, 4 teams, because it's 2 games. It's the same ticket. It's the same press credential. So Texas, Purdue, Arkansas, Arizona, there were 10 total people, maybe less, sitting where I was sitting.
And they had a bigger crowd than that, because that was you in the beginning before the game started. That was you hustling up to your seat. Did it just take you that long to get there?
No, this is, you could, again, you probably can't see, but Texas was up, looks like 20-18 on the scoreboard. So no, this was during the game. And look, again, when you have 2 games and 4 fan bases, like, not every fan of a team in the second game is going to show up for the opening tip.
And not every fan's going to be up there where you are. They have seats.
Well, nobody was up there where I was.
10 people?
I mean, unbelievable. Like, paying out of pocket to come here. Now, shout out to 7-Eleven and POC Premier Lodge. They definitely help with the out-of-pocket cost. But traveling all this way to San Jose to watch my alma mater play, and these are the seats that I get stuck with, man. Come on. What are we doing?
Wow.
Scott McConnell. Love Scott, but you couldn't hook a brother up with something courtside.
Doesn't he know you're the king of the? Doesn't he know you're the king of the 175?
Crazy. The 175,000, sir.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, 175. You're right. I think they followed out there. And it was well worth it. Really, well, not for you, but it was well worth it for this basketball team. I thought it was a very good year.
Yeah, it was. I mean, Sean Miller, give him credit, and we'll put a pin on this for now because Evan Veith is about to join us to talk more about this and some Longhorn baseball and football as well. But I think Sean Miller got the absolute most out of this Texas basketball team. I really do. And let me tell you this, watching Arizona play last night in that second game, of course I would have stayed. I would have had zero confidence in Texas being able to knock out the Wildcats. That team is the real deal. They made quick work of John Calipari's Arkansas team last night. But, look, I think Sean Miller, you want a coach who can maximize your players, maximize your talent. And you want overachievers, not underachievers. And I think that's what Sean Miller is, and I think that's what he did in year 1.
Very similar to football. You need some big people.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll ask Evan Veith because I know he's already been looking at potential portal options for Texas. The portal opens the day after the championship game. So 1 week from next Tuesday is when the basketball portal will start, and we'll have portal madness conversation here as well. But Evan Veith's going to join us in a moment, Buck. Before we go any further with basketball, with baseball, with football, with everything going on the 40, let's give our first round of sponsor shout-outs.
Folks, if you need that orthopedic care, contact the experts. Some of the Texas Longhorns may be doing that, contacting the experts, of course, at Texas Orthopedics. Their physicians offer comprehensive surgical and non-surgical orthopedic care for children and adults, spinal care, sports medicine, trauma care, joint replacement, and more. Their doctors are dedicated orthopedic surgeons there, and their goal is to get you right back into good health and the great quality of life that you deserve. Texas Orthopedics is the largest independent orthopedic practice in Central Texas. For more information, go to txortho.com. Some of those ankle guys may be looking to go there this morning because, man, they played hard on some bum legs last night, man.
Well, Jordan Pope played on a broken foot, apparently.
Dude, and that was right. That was that thing that it wasn't like looked like it got better during the game. He was still limping around. He was hurting.
He was hurting. He and Tremont Mark were hurting. Yeah, Texas Orthopedics can help them out for sure. Also, some love to AV Consultations. Great time of the year to be a sports fan. So much going on. Major League Baseball is back. Rough opening day for both the Astros and the Rangers. But, hey, 161 more games. Things will be just fine. College baseball is obviously here. You've got the rest of the tournament. Of course, the Texas women are still dancing. The Masters is right around the corner. So many great sports happenings, which means it's a great time to call our guy Tom McKay and his great team at Audiovisual Consultations. I've used the word great a lot, and I mean it. These guys are great. They embody greatness. They've been around since 1988. They've hooked up thousands of Central Texans with the home TV setups of their dreams. They hooked Bucky up with the 85-inch big screen that he has at his place. They hooked me up with the 4-screen man cave. That's the only reason I'm excited to go home. Well, that and some Altstadt beer. But I'll be locked in, sitting on the couch, watching sports all weekend and all year long thanks to AV Consultations. You can do the same. Man caves, big screens, home theater rooms, patio setups, whatever you're thinking. All you got to do is call Tom and his crew, and they will bring everything to you. 512-255-8678, or you can find out more online at avconsultations.com.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm like you said, I'm glad I got a chance to. I was going back and forth because the baseball game was on TV. Talking about going back and forth, man, getting confused. There was no confusion about what the baseball team did to the Sooners last night, for sure. That group came out swinging at everything. That was, we talk about them being a bunch of patient hitters and dude, they came out, anything that came near that plate last night, guys were swinging at. Coach must have told them, hey, we need some offense. We may struggle with the bullpen and we may get up a couple runs, but we need more runs. Dude, they came out of the practice box swinging once they hit the square. It was nuts in there.
Yeah, obviously would have preferred to have had the basketball win over the baseball win, but yeah. I will never complain about any victory over Oklahoma. And how about a 14-0 run rule to open up the Red River Shootout baseball edition for the Longhorns? Yeah,
but it was weird that I did when they got to be 7-0. I started going, uh-oh, can something really happen here? There's no way.
No. Well, you had Ruger Riojas on the mound. You did not have Ruger Riojas on the mound in Houston on Tuesday. You had your ace, who finally the Longhorns were able to win one of his opening game starts in an SEC series. Can't say a Friday night start because obviously this game was on a Thursday. But Riojas has been magnificent pretty much all year long, and the Texas bullpen blew late leads in his first two conference starts against Ole Miss and Auburn. So, he was getting no decisions, and the team was 0-2 in his games, but he was amazing. 7 innings, a complete game because the Longhorns only needed 7. They're supposed to play 9. Texas said, nah, we'll send everybody home happy early. Riojas was fantastic, a shutout, 8 strikeouts, gave up just 5 hits. That's exactly what Texas needed after, how taxed their bullpen was, considering how many arms they needed to use against the Cougs.
Yeah, I mean, I like the aggression. That was kind of. I mean, it was everybody who came up to bat. Nobody's looking around. No, I need to take this pitch. No, if I can get a bat on it, guess what? I'm gonna get my bat on it. Wind was blowing out. A lot of extra base hits yesterday. That was nice. Nice to watch.
Yeah, the offense powered by 17 hits. Casey Borba was amazing. Another Bohr bomb for him. I feel like we should call that a Bohr missile. That thing got out of here so quickly. 6 RBIs for the Longhorns first baseman. He was 3 for 4, a triple shy of the cycle. He was magnificent. Big day for Gumbo. Jaden Duplantier, 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs. I mean, 3 Longhorns had 3 hits. Every starter had at least 1. That's what we needed. I mean, Texas only had, I know they scored 7 runs against Houston, but it was all because Houston walked 11 batters. I mean, that's all the Longhorns did offensively. They had just 3 hits in that embarrassing loss earlier in the week. And, I wonder what was said by Jim Schlossnagle in between Tuesday and Thursday. It was a different.
Lot. I guarantee it was a lot.
Yeah, it was a different-looking bunch, and they were clearly motivated to go from the opening pitch last night. We will get back into some Texas baseball conversation. We'll give a few more of our thoughts on the Longhorns' route of the Sooners to take Game 1 of the 3-game series at the Dish, but I see him in the waiting room ready to rock and roll. One of our favorites. He's become a staple on Bucky and BK as of late. Evan Veith from Inside Texas and InsideTexas.com joining us to talk all things Longhorns. Evan, it's great to see you, man. Thanks so much for the time. How are you?
Good. Little computer issues got me running a little late, but I'm good here. Do I sound all right?
I sound fine, man. Appreciate it.
Sounds good. Good to be back, guys.
Yeah, it's good to have you back. Well, you know what? We'll start with the good. It's Friday. We'll open up with some Longhorn baseball conversation, and Texas fans needed it considering the way the basketball game ended last night. But what a statement by Texas. Look, a lot was said after the midweek collapse against Houston on Tuesday. A lot of Longhorn fans unhappy, a lot of folks asking questions, and it was ugly. There's no way around it, but what a response by Texas. Not only to beat a top 10 Oklahoma team, but to beat them 14-0 in that series opener. Your biggest takeaways from what you saw at the Dish yesterday?
Yeah, hopefully these Friday problems aren't a Friday thing and that they come back to haunt them today. But Yeah, the nice part, I wasn't actually at the dish. I was on basketball duty last night, but I got the nice thing about the basketball game was right at halftime. You see the first inning of that game. You see Ruger Riojas get out of it. I think that honestly, that first inning play from Casey Borba gave them a lot of energy. That double play, the 1-3-2, rifles it perfectly to Carson Tinney. The only place that the tag could be put on was right there, and that got the third out. And then the bats just immediately woke up, and that's what really struck with me is that first inning. You look at the outs that they had. Ethan Mendoza gets called on a ball that was a foot below the zone. Realistically, he should have gotten on base. Carson Tinney runs into an out, which I can understand. The pitcher hadn't been holding him at all the past 2 pitches, and then happened to look over at him as he was running to third. And then Jaden Duplantier hits a rifle to the shortstop. Otherwise, I mean, they scored 3 or 4 runs in that inning and just got off to a good start with every single hitter. Adrian Rodriguez had a good game. That's someone who's been needing one for a while. Ruger Riojas, it barely felt like those innings were happening because he would get through 3 guys, and then the offense would stay on for another 30 minutes, and then didn't really affect him after that. He had his base runners. Some of them came from just good pieces of hitting, but never really that dangerous for Riojas all night. 7 shutout innings, 106 pitches. And yeah, Casey Borba had another tremendous game. A homer at the end was kind of the icing on the cake. And you just love to see Texas against a team like Oklahoma, a rival, which I know it's not as publicized in baseball, but it's a rivalry. These guys care a lot about these games. You can see the players like Robbins especially are taking it seriously, and they just dominated that game. It was a fun one to watch, especially after seeing basketball end the way it did, just to kind of let's go over to ESPN and check on the Longhorn baseball team.
Yeah, it was kind of fun being back games at almost at the same time, kind of fun going back and forth to see. And Evan, I just thought that any ball that came near the white of the plate, they were swinging at. It wasn't like, let's get them deep into the pitch count. Let's see if we can get a bunch of walks. It was like, no, we're here to swing the bat tonight. And they did. They came out very aggressive with the bats.
Yeah, and that's been something that people have been a little annoyed about is their amount of taking. And I'm someone that can understand why you do that, especially in a long season. And I thought that was going to be the case against Oklahoma because that's a pitching staff that's struggled with their command, and they've been chased out of games early in their 2 series, LSU and A&M before this. So I thought it was going to be one of those where it's like, hey, let's get Mercedes, or I might be butchering his name. Let's get him into deeper counts, and they did that. Mendoza did that as well. But yeah, you've seen Carson Tinney just roping the first pitch he sees most of the time. And Aiden Robbins worked some counts, but you saw Borba do the same thing. Duplantier was aggressive. Pack had a great game. I think Becerra ended 3 for 3. It was just really, really good, clean baseball most of the game outside of, an error or 2 there. But that happens in college ball. It happens with this Texas team. And just a really fun one to watch. You're hoping that those Friday scaries don't come up. But Luke Harrison finally gets a chance to just pitch with some lead behind him, without having to worry about, hey, I gotta win this game for my team, which he's done a tremendous job at. But this is what fans have been kind of expecting: is Harrison gets Friday, the win comes in, and so Harrison just gets to kind of do whatever he needs to on Saturday. If it's only 5 innings, that's all right because you probably have a healthier bullpen, and you probably, at least if you lose that game, get Dylan Volantis against a lesser pitcher of the other side, which still could be the case tomorrow.
No doubt. Evan Veith of Inside Texas and InsideTexas.com joining us here on Bucky and BK. Well, that was the good from last night. The bad from last night. Texas basketball's magical ride has come to an end. The Longhorns losing to Purdue in the Sweet 16, 79-77, the final. Trey Flopman-Wren, that's what I'm calling him, Evan, with the game-winning putback. Before we go macro, because I do want to get your thoughts on the totality of year 1 of the Sean Miller era and kind of where you think this program is going, I would love to get your breakdown, maybe your biggest takeaways on what went wrong for Texas last night in San Jose.
Yeah, I think that the ultimate factor was the fouls, which we could have told you that could have happened weeks ago if you'd said, oh, they're going to get to the Sweet 16 against Purdue. First, oh, wow, really? And then secondly, how much is Vokietitis' foul trouble going to be a problem? And it ended up being, Cam Heide was kind of the one who burnt them late in that game. Just some unnecessary fouls, and the hook and holds were way too apparent in this game. And that's what happens when you have senior forwards and centers who know how to aggravate a player like Vokietitis, who we know with Modest, like he's a great talent, but he sometimes gets a little too emotional in the game. He retaliates pretty much every time you get him there. So yeah, do I think that Purdue probably got away with initiating the hooks a little too much? Most likely. But Vokietitis is then shoving around them. The cylinder foul also, that rule, I don't know what was going on there because that was a 5-point swing in the first half where they called the cylinder foul after, but didn't call flagrant, but it was still 2 free throws and the ball for Purdue. I didn't quite understand that ruling, but yeah, down the stretch, this is kind of what I expected. Was Texas keeps it really competitive for this game. And I mean, Tremont Mark injured. Jordan Pope was also injured, but Mark putting up 29 points the way he did, hitting some ludicrous shots down the stretch. Just that's what kept the team into it. And I thought Swain played pretty well in the second half, but a few turnovers late. And just that's what happens when you play a really good team. Like sometimes it's just they are a little bit better at the very end. You played them within 1 second and 2 points. You, as Miller pointed out when he was talking about the Vokietitis decision, like you got the stop. We played tremendous one-on-one defense. The ball just barely went the right way. Swain got beaten out to it. I can definitely see the argument of hooked, pushed, over for sure, but that's not what the refs called, and that's how the game ends. And I don't even think it's one of these bad versus good with the baseball and basketball. Like most people felt the house money thing with this team, and I didn't expect them to play it even that close. I thought it was going to be okay, by that last minute, they're going to haven't been pulled away. Purdue has, and there's not much craziness. They're a little bit better, so that'll happen. But Texas played with 3 of their main rotation players injured. I mean, Traore not playing, which meant Cody had to play a lot of minutes, and he was fine, but not as good as he was against Gonzaga. And then Pope and Mark, your 2 guards, are both battling on one leg, and they're still doing well. So just a great year overall by the end of it. There were some topsy-turvy stuff, and I know you're going to ask about that, but still, just you have to be happy with what this team put out in the court these last few games. And the amount of fight and the amount of competitiveness from all these guys, like, just shows how well coached Sean Miller is with this program.
Yeah, I mean that the fight that they put up with guys injured, a lot of times you can use that. It's not an excuse when you have guys hurt. I mean, the way they hurt, but those are senior guys that said, no, we're going to stay in the game. And as I thought Pope was hurt from the get-go. It wasn't that during the course of the game it started to tighten up on him or it started to hurt. He looked hurt immediately, and he just ran through things. He defended as well as he could for a guy who doesn't defend very well anyway. So on one leg, he really did a good job. He came off his screens and got his jumper off, which was, at times you were wondering when he's healthy, why couldn't he do that? Damn, he's on one leg and he's getting it done. And for Mark, some of the shots that he made were tremendous. I just thought the thing that hurt them was the thing that seems to always kind of hurt them during the course of the season. They do some dumb things. I mean, those turnovers that with 6-7 minutes to go in the game, they don't seem like much because you're still right there. But they ended up not only turning it over, but the ball would go back the other way, and the turnovers ended up being points for Purdue. And it was just too easy. I mean, cross-court passes that the guy sitting in center field just waiting for you to throw. It just hurt. It's the heady things that kills this team at times.
You could see the doubles were really getting to Vokietitis, and that's how one of those fouls came up on the offensive end where he's swinging his arms, and that's where turnovers came from. Swain had a few clear mistakes. There's one little stretch where he had 2 straight turnovers where I remember tweeting out like, okay, Modest's 4 fouls. Your 2 point guards have a combined 2 legs. Like you have to be the guy now, Dalen Swain. Like this is your opportunity. And then he immediately has 2 turnovers, and one of them he just kind of hits the ball off his knee. Another one, an errant pass. So that's where, and we can talk about it more, like that's where I see him as someone who needs another year in college basketball. And that's not just
there you go.
I think it's better for Texas, but like this is a really good draft class, and you want to be a guy who can maybe be a second scoring option on an NBA team. Like you need to show a little bit more on the tape of, hey, down the stretch, I'm not throwing the ball to the other team and giving them a free 2 points, because that's what's so fun about basketball is those 2 points everywhere just add up slowly throughout the game.
Yes.
5 points in the first quarter or first half, on that cylinder foul call turns into them winning by 2. And those little exchanges there, and Purdue had theirs where they had bad turnovers or Mark hit a shot that you just didn't think was possible. But at the end of the day, Texas was down 3 and had to kind of have a miracle play from Swain and the Clough foul, which that was probably the one foul. If you're a Purdue fan, you're going, ooh, that was interesting. That was an interesting call for a foul out that late in the game. But it was a tremendous drive from Swain, and that's where you see him flashing. But yeah, sometimes in those middle of the games, he just has his inconsistencies that hurt the team on those half-court possessions.
Yeah, Purdue fans have one foul they can point at. I think Texas fans have about 15 fouls that they could point at that didn't go their way. Evan Veith of Inside Texas joining us right now on Bucky and BK. Well, let's turn the page a little earlier than we want to, but obviously later than we expected going into the tournament. I'm only asking you this question, Evan, because you and I were texting a little bit last night. You're already looking ahead to the transfer portal. The portal opens the day after the national championship game, 1 week from next Tuesday. If you have names, great, but just kind of overall thoughts on what you think Sean Miller needs to do to improve this roster. Obviously, Jordan Pope's going to be gone. Tremont Mark's going to be gone. Kendall Weaver's going to be gone. You brought up Dalen Swain. He's got a decision to make. So there's going to be a lot of new faces next year. But in your eyes, if you're helping Sean Miller put this roster together, what are you doing?
Yeah, a little bit of a shameless plug, but this morning, about 45 minutes ago, I dropped a little checklist, priorities, transfer targets for Miller on Inside Texas. So if you're a subscriber or not yet, go over there and check that out. But the first priority is obviously Vokietitis returning, which I don't think that one's. I think some of the fans of Texas are a little bit too doom and gloom about resources and likelihoods of players transferring out. A guy like Vokietitis, who's developed this well at Texas, has no reason to go elsewhere. It's just too risky for him to try to look for a tier up, unless it really is just some unbelievable offer that he probably won't be getting. So I think he's going to be back. I think he's going to get an NIL bump, and he'll be the starting center. And then Swain, obviously, the decisions around it, the pros and cons are, right now he's about the consensus 24th, 25th pick in the draft. Obviously, what big boards say right now is not what it's going to be like when they're drafting these players. But he's probably not going to be a lottery pick. He's probably going to be picked in the first round. So that's good money. You're still a first-round pick. But this is a very, very good draft class, both with true freshmen. And look who's above you. Thomas Hawk, Yaxel Lendenborg. Those are junior and senior players at your position who are in the 10 to 15 pick range. That's an example of what can happen when you come back one more year. And Lendenborg got a bag at Michigan. Thomas Hawk paid pretty well at Florida to stay one more year. So that's an example of, hey, you can come back and be a star. You already were a star. You can be a superstar, all SEC first team, all American type. Be it in the first 15 picks, make more money on that first contract than you were anyway. Your only real risk is injury, or, obviously you can have a bad year, but it's probably not going to be any worse as a team than what it was this season in SEC play. We'll see about the tournament. So Swain, Vokietitis, first priorities. Secondly, you got to get your transfer point guard. It's just that would have been the number one story of this team if they hadn't gone on this run. But throughout most of the year, Pope and Mark are good players. They're combo guards more than anything. They're fun. Pope's a point guard, not in the SEC, but he just wasn't big and physical enough to get through there. And point guards are always there in the portal. That's the most easily available portal position. It's like wide receiver in football. There were, I think, 25 of the top 100 last year, according to On3's rankings, were point guards. So look at Elliot Cadeau at Michigan. It doesn't even need to be a UNC transfer, but then Doug McDaniel goes somewhere else. And there's a lot of just one guy goes to one team, so their point guard goes here, and then it trickles. Yeah. Could also be a mid-major guy. Just someone who can handle the ball, get you 4 assists, can score, obviously. But more importantly, just not turn the ball over when you need to run sets and can get the ball to Swain and Vokietitis in the right spots. So I think those are the 3 pieces that must happen to make a big 4, or even if it's just a big 3 of point guard, Austin Gooseby, who I'm really excited about, Vokietitis, and maybe Swain. And then from there, it's about looking at your depth and what you need elsewhere. I think another big would be nice. I know there's a lot of bodies on this team, and Nick Cody impressed me. I think he's more of a power forward, even when he puts on more weight, which it's going to come. He needs to. But he needs to be more of an interior presence, and that's still not a shot blocker, which is Vokietitis' biggest problem, does not block shots. So a senior guy, not a huge NIL deal, someone who can just come in, kind of what you hope from Traore, but maybe a little bit bigger, probably more fresh legs, and someone who's maybe got some tournament experience, and then maybe a starting power forward as well. We'll see about Heidi. We'll see about Cody. John Clark's a name to know, but he's not going to be a starter next year. He's a redshirt freshman. So I think their starting lineup could have 2 to 3 transfers in it, at least point guard and power forward. We'll see about Swain. But your bench, you do have some guys to build off of, because Bo Ogden's coming in. I think he's an immediate 6-man scoring spark. Heidi, I think he would return. I think both sides would be fine with him returning. He had his problems, but as the 7th man in the rotation, that's a lot more comfortable than your starting power forward. Sterling could be interesting. Cody's going to factor in, but yeah, I think backup big men is going to be another spot where you're going to have to, or even starting power forward, where you saw what happened against Purdue when you played a Big Ten team that had 2 bigs that could really dominate the presence in the paint. You have to have other people in there that can help you out. And the SEC is much more. I was talking a few different places talking about how different the Big Ten and the SEC are with college basketball. Like they're just completely different games and styles. But even in the SEC, you need to have a power forward that can match up against another big man or play single big man lineups when Vokietitis is out.
Yeah, it can be good for Vokietitis to have a big guy to be able to throw the ball over the top to that understands. He's decent as an assist guy, with the smaller guys. But if he had another guy that's just a little bit stronger, a little bit physical, that he could get the ball to when he's there, somebody he can play off of. He doesn't get a chance to play off it. There's nobody to play off of on this team. He can't play off of Cody. He's not strong enough or tall enough to do anything. But if he got another guy that he could throw over the top to, I think that would suit him pretty well. And for Heidi, it's like, dude, I mean, he's got to be your 7th or 8th guy coming off the bench.
That's what I'm saying.
He can't be a starter for you.
Yeah, and I can see the value of a shooter like that off your bench who has tournament experience with 2 different schools and can be kind of a leader in the clubhouse. And like Brock Cunningham, he was a starter for the team, probably should have been a 7th or 8th man. That's kind of what you're looking for. Maybe Heidi needs to work on the loose ball effort and things like that, but he's still athletic and can shoot. And yeah, like Cody and Vokietitis had their moments in the 2 big lineups. I mean, Cody can actually throw a pretty good interior pass where they love getting Vokietitis with his back to the defender, face to the rim, just throw it over the guy. Cody actually had a few good entries like that, but he just needs to mold his body first, and then we can talk about him being like a true rotation player. It was more of a, we don't have anybody else, so you've got to play. And you were really good against Gonzaga, and that was awesome. Clearly against Purdue, TKR versus him was a big mismatch. And I see people in the chat talking about it. Like, I get the Vokietitis in the last possession argument. It's tough because no matter what, someone is at a mismatch. If they get Smith on Vokietitis one-on-one, that they're scoring right there. You're not getting that first stop anyway. So I see what Miller meant. It's just unfortunate the rotations and the switches ended up being that TKR was on Swain, and that's just a big physical mismatch. I don't know if Cody would have even gotten the rebound there. Probably not.
No, all of them would have got pushed underneath the board.
Yeah. I think Vokietitis is the only guy who grabs that board, and then would he even have been in that situation? I don't know. I understand Miller. Immediately, I was kind of like, no, I don't agree with this, and then I've slowly kind of found the middle ground on that, where like I could see both sides of it.
Yeah, well, Dalen Swain just needed to flop like Trey Flopman-Wren, and maybe he would have gotten that call. But because he's a real man and doesn't do stuff like that, Texas got punished for it. Brutal. Evan Veith of Inside Texas. No sour grapes here. Let me show you this, by the way, Evan, before we get to a football question. This is where I was sitting last night. So clearly I had a great view of that push-off from Paul.
Bring the binoculars?
Zero doubt.
You have the binoculars going for that one?
Oh, my God. I should have brought them. I see, like, most of the media sitting courtside. I see that before the game. I'm like, oh, this is great. I got floor seats for this game. And then they're like, no, you're
not
up
you,
there.
mister.
And then
Yep.
Keep
going. That is
keep
how
going.
those March Madness rows go. It's like you get your first choice priority press pass guys. They're right at the floor, perfect reporting, perfect angles. And then you're just in the absolute swamps up there.
That was me in the swamps. All right, well, a Texas football question, Evan, before we let you go. First scrimmage coming up this weekend. Obviously, we're in week 2 of spring practice. Would love to just get maybe your big storylines, what you've heard this week, and maybe some things that you're looking to hear in spring scrimmage number 1.
Yeah, Sark made it clear that coming out of spring break, that there were some mistakes going on and some mental errors. And I made the connection in an article, which got some of our readers a little annoyed. Like, hey, like, pay attention to these things. It's been a problem for the team the last 2 years, unforced errors, penalties. When it comes to these really, really good teams they play, like that's where Georgia catches you out. It was a problem against Ohio State in 2024. So like, just keep an eye on that. And so it seems like as the week's going on, that's becoming less and less of a problem. That's just spring break rust. But make sure you're keeping track of how Sark's talking about it, because at the end of the day, like, he's the mouthpiece for the program. Sources can be great, but the coach is going to tell you how it is if he wants to. So him saying there's mistakes is something to look out for. But we've heard that they're being very multiple in the way that they're setting up both their offense and their defense. Yes, 11 personnel is really important to this team when you have Coleman, Wingo, Mosley. But especially when those guys are out in practice, like 12 is going to be a big part of this team, having 2 tight ends on the field. The tight ends are much bigger than they have been the past few years. I mean, Masunis is a giant out there. He looks like he's playing tackle, or at least like a high school recruit coming in to play tackle who needs a few more pounds. And Nick Townsend's a big burly guy who can run pretty well as well. So they're going to find ways to get those guys on the field at the same time quite a bit and run the ball with Smothers and Brown in outside zone situations. And then on the defense, we've heard a lot about Muschamp bringing this mint 3-down defense in and what that will mean. Ian Gaffard is going to be that big space eater in the middle. You have Lance Jackson bulking up, playing a little more inside the tackle at times, whichever other DN, D-tackle kind of hybrid guy you have next to Gaffard, whether that's Kanu, January, Watson. But they're still going to have some of those 4-down fronts, and they're still going to have times where like Colin Simmons is just pinning his ears back and going to get the quarterback. And I think that multiple ability is going to be really nice if you can get your team set up for that for week 2 against Ohio State, where maybe against the offense where Julian Saint's going to be more comfortable and have a little bit more on him to be the playmaker. You're going to need to be able to show different schemes and different types of looks to throw at him when it comes to the pass rush, because pass rush didn't get there last year. That was mostly because the game plan for Ohio State was get the ball out as quick as possible. But saying that's probably his biggest superpower apart from his accuracy is like he doesn't get sacked very often. And when he does, it's oftentimes not really his fault. And defensively for Ohio State, they don't have these freaks of nature anymore. They don't have, top number 2 pick Arvell Reese, number 5 pick Sonny Styles, number 10 pick Caleb. Like they just aren't. And then other players as well. They don't have these elite playmakers. They have a lot of good that they brought through the portal and coming back, but it's going to be nice to be able to throw different looks at them of, hey, we can run the ball to the right or left on you, and we're going to put our big tight ends in your defensive ends, and that's going to be win. Or, hey, you're going to have to show up with your nickel cornerback and cover Emmett Mosley while Cam Coleman's got 2 people on him going down the field. So I'm excited for how that looks for the spring practice and that scrimmage. We'll hear a lot about individual players more at the cornerback positions when I'm looking out for, because I think Bo Masco might be someone that surprises people for how good he really is with this team. And they're deep there. Like Warren Roberson's going to be a guy who gets a lot of man coverage reps, and I think that name sours people because of the special teams problems. But as an actual cornerback, Warren Roberson's been very good at Texas in his limited reps, and he's only getting older and more experienced. So I'm excited for how that room looks.
Yeah, the head coach being, letting us know about things, not, the penalties and stuff. We already know that. We've been knowing that for 2 years. Him talking about it, that's great. Him doing something about it is going to be, we won't be able to see it until the season starts. But boy, oh boy, I'd like to know what they're doing to prevent some of that stuff. BK and I talked about, are there 2 extra officials there? If they're going to scrimmage, I'd love to have 2 extra guys there, even more eyes on what they do. I mean, that's letting us know something. We all know as football fans and people that see the stat sheet every week, all year long for the last couple of years, that they almost lead the country in penalties. That's there. The coach doesn't have to tell us that. We can see it every week. They need to do something about that stuff. And boy, it sure would be nice to know what they're doing about it. And if you're going there and see if they have any extra, looks like some extra striped shirts there at the scrimmage on side. I mean, that'll at least tell us something,
Yeah, and I'm looking at, third right tackle in 3 years, or I guess 4th and 4 with Jones from the years before. So that's been a position where penalties have been a problem. And I think Siani was brought in because of that experience and the ability to kind of anchor the team and make sure they're not.
That did have one penalty last year, so that's pretty good.
And that was playing left tackle. And I know the ACC isn't some elite conference, and he didn't play some of the best edge rushers there, but still, that's just only one penalty. And,
sure.
And left guard, left side of the lines, one we'll have to look at, but that's not probably what it's going to look like for the year. So you kind of have to temper your expectations of how that looks. But yeah, it's some of the mental stuff. Like, there were too many wide receiver penalties last year. Like Wingo was committing far too many. Yeah, and that's the example of like, what are you doing behind the scenes? Is this a culture problem? Are you just not preparing these guys enough for having to play against other real people, not just your teammates? I'm interested in how that looks as well. But Bucky, as you pointed out, like it's kind of just got to wait until August and September to see how it really plays out. That's one of the hardest things as someone who didn't grow up as a football player or hasn't worked in a football team, of saying like, how do coaches actually coach penalties? Because clearly some teams are better at it than others. Kirby Smart keeps his team more disciplined on the field than Steve Sarkisian does, even though they're both top tier, the SEC coaches. What is the difference behind the scenes there? That interests me a lot.
Yeah, all three of the three most recent national champions in college football have all been in the top 20 in the country in terms of penalty yards per game. Texas, the last 3 seasons, has not been in the top 70 in any of those years, and they were in the 130s in both penalties and penalty yards per game in 2025. So it's pretty easy to see, right? I mean, the numbers obviously back it up, but there have been some costly ones at times for Texas in recent years that need to get cleaned up. Any more questions, Buck, for Evan?
Yeah, Evan, when a scrimmage like this, kind of a first scrimmage, they do want to, the easy part is to get your run game going. The hard part is getting your quarterbacks and your receivers all together. And the same thing for the defense, what their secondary look like. A lot of guys, this is where you'll have some errors in that first scrimmage. When guys try to play outside the box, they'll go back to some old habits, whether it's wide receivers or DBs. They tend to want to do things their way in the first scrimmage. I think I can make this play, but I've been coached to be here. But I think I can get that done. That's some of the things, and definitely for Wingo, the consistency with his hands, and is he going to be a little bit better route runner? And I don't know how much he's going to play, how much he's going to be out there, but that'd be interesting for me over the next couple of scrimmages. I don't care if it's short yardage scrimmage. Anytime he gets on the field, what is he going to be like if he gets on the field at all?
Yeah, my guess is Wingo and Mosley probably don't. Either they're in for a little bit, but aren't full participants for this. I think it's clear that Sark is being very conservative with the injury stuff this year around. So what I will say is, I think the defense is clearly going to be the upper hand in this first scrimmage, because you're talking about KJ Lacey is throwing the football. Left side of the line is completely different.
Yep.
Who knows how much of Wingo Mosley we're going to get, as you were just talking about, versus the defense. There's some injuries, but it's the front 11 is mostly there of who's going to play. And usually the defense is always at upper hand to start these things. It's kind of, if they're not, it probably means that your defense is going to be a problem this year. So I do think that this is a time for Cam Coleman and even Sterling Burkhalter, the Wake Forest transfer, to hey guys, we've been here, Jermaine Bishops, Dalen McCutcheons, we know what these practices are like. You need to kind of follow our lead and say, it might not come to you as easily as you think. The quarterback might not throw it perfectly on the money. There might not be as much time. These are better players than you guys are used to playing against, especially for someone like Bishop. Just don't get too frustrated if things don't go your way. It's practice one or scrimmage one in the spring. It's happening pretty quickly. We were on spring break last week, so it's a good leadership opportunity for someone like Coleman, and also the running backs. We've heard a lot of good things about Derek Cooper, but how is he going to respond when things go a little bit worse or someone punches the ball out? Because there's some good defensive players he's going to have to go against. But someone like Cooper is a guy I'm really excited about. I think he can comfortably carve that third running back position, first guy away from the 1A, 1B group. And that's not a diss on James Simon. I just think Cooper is really, really talented.
It's awesome. Great stuff. Evan Veith of Inside Texas. Y'all be sure to follow him on Twitter at Evan Veith. Subscribe over to Inside Texas at InsideTexas.com if you haven't done so already. Putting out tremendous content covering Texas football and basketball and baseball 24/7, 365. Evan, we owe you some overtime pay for this one, man. We kept you for a long time, but thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Evan.
I was about 3-4 minutes late. It's only 10:03 right now, so we're all good.
Thank you, man. We appreciate it.
Of course, guys. Have a good one.
We'll talk soon. You too. There he goes. Evan Veith, Inside Texas, InsideTexas.com. Already got a transfer portal article up for basketball. They've got some good scrimmage preview content, some game recap from Texas baseball's 14-0 rout of Oklahoma. Doing great work, and obviously kind enough to join us here on a Friday.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff from him. He's got a lot of content, man. He really does, and he's very knowledgeable about all of those different sports, which is fun to listen to him. But I know his eyeballs will be just as wide as can be with some of the stuff that he's going to see at the scrimmage if he gets a chance to go in there. That first one is always fun, especially for guys like Bishop that people have talked about, and then you get to be in your first one, BK, out of high school. That is awesome.
I actually don't know if tomorrow's scrimmage is open to the media or not. I don't think it is, but
no, he won't be like you. He won't be up in those seats. He'll be right there front row somewhere.
Well, yeah, they're probably going to have it in the bubble. They don't have seats in there.
Well, he'll be standing just outside the ropes. You would be outside bleachers. You'd be at the revolving door.
I'll be on the other side of I-35. Are you kidding me? The way Texas treats me.
Oh, come on, man.
I went to that school. You got a degree from that school. I paid to go to that school.
You're paying some of that NIL money. Come on.
And all these other media members, they never went to Texas. They don't care. You think Kirk Bowles cares if Texas wins? That guy wants Texas to lose. We know that.
Come on, man.
Giving him the courtside seats and
You
putting
got
the
to be
real
treated better than that.
I guess they say the real fans sit in the nosebleeds. And let me tell you, I had a few tissues last night.
Oh,
I needed to
bet.
stop it. Amazing. All right, we'll get back into Texas basketball. More thoughts on last night's games. We'll also talk about the other madness. There were 3 other games around the country, a couple of upsets, and we'll preview tonight's Sweet 16 slate as well. But before we go any further, how about another round of sponsor shout-outs?
Folks, Relax the Back embraces a holistic approach for a healthier lifestyle, and my back couldn't be happier. I love the folks over at Relax the Back. Tempur-Pedic mattresses, pillow sets, they've got it all just for you. How about this zero-gravity recliners, human scale office chairs, desk, all the accessories. And the accessories, if you've got a problem, whether it's your feet, I even go out to your feet, BK, where you can put the vibrating ball. You can just put that baby on, put your feet on it. Feels great. It's great for your ankles. You know, Pope Jordan needs that probably today. So you can go over there to Relax Back, get some of those accessories that are going to help you out, whether it's your lumbar, your shoulders, your neck, your back, your thoracic. You can get it done at Relax the Back. 2 locations. One is at the Hill Country Gallery across from Whole Foods, and in North Austin at the Gateway Shopping Center across from Container Store. Live pain-free like the Buck at Relax the Back.
Yes, indeed. Love Relax the Back. Definitely missing my Relax the Back chair here.
Oh, they didn't have a good seat for you up there? You mean the chairs weren't any good up there either?
No, the chairs were fine up there, but the chair in my hotel room at the Sonesta Select at the San Jose airport is not great.
Yeah.
It is hurt the back instead of relax the back. I think that's what I've got here. You know what else is good for relaxation? An ice cold Altstadt beer. And let me tell you, I am very much looking forward to getting home and getting back to my Altstadt fridge and cracking open a cold one on a Friday night. I'm going to need it after the day of travel, and I need it after last night's heartbreaker in San Jose. But look, maybe you're drinking to celebrate. You're drinking to ease the pain, whatever you're drinking for. Beautiful weather in Central Texas. Maybe you're going to a baseball game. You want to tailgate. You want to bring some beer outside the dish before the game. Hey, show up to Occupy Left Field with some Altstadt beer. Those guys are going to love you. Whatever the occasion is, your good times are made better with a great beer. Altstadt is the best beer that you can find all throughout the great state of Texas. Brewed in Fredericksburg. Again, easy to find all across the Lone Star State. They've got a bunch of different brews as well. Something for every beer drinker out there. A lager, a Kolsch, a Hefeweizen, a great light beer, a seasonal peach radler. I'm telling you, something for everyone. Whatever you're doing, of course, please remember to drink Altstadt responsibly. But again, your good times are made better with Altstadt beer. It's the official beer of BK. It should be the official beer of you as well. It's Altstadt beer. No impurities, no regrets.
Our good friends over at Sue Patrick, of course, since 1975, that unbelievable collectibles, accessories, and a great, great wide variety of men's and women's clothing in all sizes. I wore my shirt out yesterday. Did not play golf, but I had my away shirt on, my polo away with the little mini horns on them. Got stopped yesterday. Hey, Starbucks. Got stopped in Starbucks. Went inside. Didn't go through the drive-thru. Went in. Guy stopped me and said, "Hey, are you going to play golf? Is this a golf shirt?" I said, "This is an any kind of shirt right here." Had all the little, it was the brown color one, and they loved it, BK. And I'm telling you, at Sue Patrick, they've got them all. We got some great sales over at Sue Patrick right now for the spring. Get on over there, get some of the great hats that they have, of course. You name it, they've got it at Sue Patrick. Got my wife the washing, the Tyler Perry, Tyler Campbell. Got some of that for her. Hey, she was excited about that. She goes, "That smell is unbelievable that comes out of," and she goes, "Can't you smell it in your clothes?" I'm like, "Yeah, I smell it in the house. Smell it in my car because I got a little bit in my car, as a matter of fact." But they've got it all at 5222 Burnett Road. Go check it out. And remember the Jellycats, Jellycat headquarters at Sue Patrick for sure. For more information, go to SuePatrick.com.
Nicely done, buying your wife some laundry detergent. Send her a message.
Yeah, I did send her a message. She goes, "What are you trying to say? Does the house smell?" I'm like, "No, this just makes it smell just a little bit better."
Yeah, I'm out of underwear. That's what I'm trying to say. I need you to fix that.
Well, you don't have to worry about that because I always have plenty available.
You're right. Yeah, you own like 80 pairs of underwear for, you know what? We're not going to talk anymore about that. I don't want to do any digging on that.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Just leave it go.
That's weird. And a quick shout out to our friends at Centex Tickets. Hey, 2 more Texas baseball games against Oklahoma this weekend. If you want to be at the dish for either of them, CentexTickets.com. If you want to be at the Sweet 16 in Fort Worth for the Texas women's basketball team, they play tomorrow. CentexTickets.com. MotoGP on Sunday at Coda. CentexTickets.com. Any sporting event, any concert, any comedy show, any festival, anything, all really across the state, but especially in Central Texas, you can find your seats waiting for you at CentexTickets.com. Don't forget the promo code CENTEX10. You type that in at checkout, you're going to get 10% off of any purchase from our great friends at CentexTickets.com.
Sweet.
All right, more on last night's heartbreak. Texas's season coming to an end in the Sweet 16. I find this very interesting, Buck, and also very frustrating. Kind of weird, kind of eerie, and very annoying. Rick Barnes, his first year at Texas, the Longhorns were eliminated in the first round of the NCAA tournament by Purdue. Chris Beard, his first year at Texas, the Longhorns were eliminated in the second round of the NCAA tournament by Purdue. Sean Miller, first year at Texas, the Longhorns eliminated in the third round of the NCAA tournament by Purdue. I hope Sean Miller is here for a long time, but if I could put money on whoever the next coach of Texas losing in the Elite Eight to Purdue in his first year, I think I would.
You like those numbers?
History is on our side with that one. And I don't like Purdue even when they're not playing Texas. But now knowing that, yeah, that's another reason to hate Boiler Up.
Yes, indeed.
So that was frustrating. But I do want to give some love to Jordan Pope. You know, it was interesting. Yeah. I mean, he was listed as questionable on Wednesday's injury report. And then yesterday afternoon, a couple of hours before tip-off, it's reported that he's going to be a game-time decision. And it's like, he's going to play. Like, of course he's going to play. What do you mean? He's a senior. He's back home in the Bay Area. It could be his last career college game. Like, he's done too much to sit this game out. And then I get to the arena, Buck, and they give all of the press starting lineups for the game, for both teams. And Jordan Pope is not listed on that sheet of paper. It's Simeon Wilcher who was listed as the starting point guard for Texas. And I'm like, oh, my God, this is way more serious than any of us anticipated. He might actually, I mean, maybe he's able to play, but the fact that he's not starting, like, this might be something serious. Then they do the in-arena starting lineup announcements, and Jordan Pope is in there. His name is there. He ends up starting the game for Texas. But we were on the edge of our seat and on pins and needles wondering for sure, okay, is Jordan Pope actually going to be able to go in this game? We find out after the game in the post-game press conference that this was no ankle, twist, sprain, whatever. Here is Jordan Pope when he was asked in the press conference if he was close to not playing against Purdue last night.
It was definitely up in the air. I think I could clear the air now. 5 minutes left against Gonzaga. I broke my foot, a complete break. So it was definitely tough. I'm not sure a lot of guys would have went out there and played, but, you know, credit to my training staff, Warren and our doctor. They did a lot of, you know, work the last, 4 days, 24/7, giving me treatment, just giving me a chance to really, you know, be questionable for the game. And so just credit to those guys. They got me ready, and thankfully I was able to go out there and play. I felt good somehow. And, yeah, I mean, I had a lot of fun. I thank the Lord that I was able to get through that.
Yeah, I mean, you're a senior in your last game, and you're just a couple miles away from your home. Hell yeah, but to hear that doesn't sound like it was like a hairline fracture. It sounds like it was a fracture, and that's a little bit different, you know, when you got a break or you got a fracture. So I mean, I just saw him. I just thought, as I said, he was limping from the get-go. That dude wasn't trying to hide that he was hurt. He was hurt. He played hurt, and he played hurt the whole time, and that was pretty good effort right there by him.
I think he played injured. I don't think he played hurt. I think there's a difference between being hurt and being injured. And we're talking about a guy who was dealing with a broken foot, a full break, according to Jordan Pope. And that's insane. I mean, he obviously played the last few minutes in Texas's win over Gonzaga this past weekend. And then he started last night, made 4 threes, 12 points, played 33 minutes. To do that on a broken foot, I mean, that's embodying what Texas Fight is all about right there. Because there are a lot of guys who would have been like, my foot's broken. Like, I can't play. Like, it sucks. I know this is my last game. I'm a senior, and man, what a brutal way for me to go out. But, it's just bad luck. It's unfortunate. I'm not going to go out there and risk anything else happening, a worse break or another part of my body getting hurt because it's overcompensating for my foot not being 100%.
Yeah, well, that's
there are
tough.
A lot of guys.
Tough kid. That shows some toughness.
A lot of guys in that same situation, even in a Sweet 16 game, that I don't think are doing what Jordan Pope is doing. One more from Jordan Pope, because he was asked a follow-up question. It's like, were you worried? Like, could you have gotten more injured? What was sort of your thought process into actually suiting up and giving it a go? Here was Pope on the follow-up.
After conversations with the doctor, I couldn't break it anymore. So there wasn't, much of a high risk in terms of the actual injury. Obviously, you could hurt other things, but I had nothing to lose. It was a Sweet 16. I'm back home in front of my family. I'm playing for my teammates, my coaches. I'll never have this opportunity again. I couldn't let that pass. I think I would have regretted that a lot if I would have. So thankfully, like I said, I was able to get out there and give ourselves a chance to make an Elite Eight.
Yeah, and being home in front of your family, and knowing that's, if you wait a long time and now you get a chance to be in front of your family, you're going to do everything you can. Yeah, that's sucking it up right there. That thing had to hurt like a son of a gun.
Oh, man, can't even imagine, right?
Oh, it hurt. Yeah, I mean, if you can suck up the pain, there's a lot of things you can do if you can suck up the pain. But most of the time, it's not the fact that things break or get dislocated, pop back in. It's the fact it hurts. It hurts to move. It hurts to breathe, Yeah. It hurts to change directions.
Look, I've never broken a bone in my body, so I don't know. I don't know the feeling of what it's like living
awful.
with that. Forget playing in a high-intensity NCAA tournament basketball game with that. I don't even know what it's like to get out of bed with a broken bone. And, look, I'm sure they shot him up with something to help ease the pain, and I'm sure adrenaline was definitely helping get Jordan Pope through the night. But
playing in front of your family is huge. And he had everybody he knew there.
I'll say this, right? Jordan Pope and Tremont Mark, and maybe you could throw Kendall Weaver in here too. Those guys, at least for me personally, and I know I'm not alone, they changed their reputations as Texas Longhorns with the way that they played in this tournament.
I would say yes.
Like they had done a lot of good things throughout their Texas careers, but this season, Texas collapsing a little bit down the stretch, and just it felt like there was a lot of inconsistencies from the entire roster. But those are your seniors, those are your experienced guys, those are the holdovers from the Rodney Terry era. Like those are the dudes that you wanted more from this year and last year, right? And if they had lost in the first 4 game to NC State, I don't know how fondly I would have looked back on the Jordan Pope and Tremont Mark 2-year spurt of Texas basketball. I really don't. But because those guys went on this run, they played hurt, they put the team on their back, they fought their tails off and led Texas to 3 wins in 5 days and to the Sweet 16. I mean, they were obviously right there in this game against Purdue last night. The preseason number 1 team in college basketball this year, by the way, Purdue. Like, that totally changes the way I'm going to look back on those 2 guys. And, again, Weaver, too. I keep leaving him out because he didn't transfer, but obviously he's a part of the senior class. On those guys and their legacies here at the University of Texas.
Yeah, I think they did a fantastic job for themselves as not only players but as people. A lot of guys would have just said, you know what, we're okay, we're not great, but they played hard. They really did. Those last couple games, they played hard, and they played in a hard conference. And there was so much I think expected of Jordan Pope. That's the deal. We expected that guy to be a scorer, big time, leader, and he's a good player. And he played at times. I think he played. I don't know if he played above and beyond, but he played hard most of the time. And I thought he really did himself a favor this year the way he played, and especially towards the end of the season. I thought he was pretty damn good.
Yeah, it was. He was. Been a lot to this team. And, look, this team had its flaws, but I think they maximized their talent. They maximized their ability. Obviously, Sean Miller and the coaching staff deserves deserve a lot of credit for that. But give these players too. I mean, they could have checked
Yeah.
out. They could have given up. There was a lot of adversity that this team faced all season long, and there were plenty of moments where it looked like they could have just mailed it in and said, you know what, it's not our year, it's not our time, whatever. And it's tough. I mean, you know this, Buck, better than I do. When there's a new coach, like, you're not always going to buy into what he's selling.
No, it's hard to do that when you're only going to be there for a year.
Yeah, he didn't recruit you. You're not used to his techniques, his practice habits, this, that, and the other. He's telling you all this, and you're like, I don't care. I don't like you. And those guys clearly bought into what Sean Miller was selling, and it worked out well for them too, because they all elevated their games throughout the
Well, that's
season.
what happens when you got good people. And I mean, these must be three pretty good men that are playing for Sean Miller. You know, I mean, Kendall Weaver just amplifies what you want in an athlete. Period. Not basketball, any kind of athlete. Just the way he takes his business to the court. Just don't shoot the three. Just leave that be. Certain things you just don't do. Don't do that.
Well, you don't have to worry about that anymore because
no, don't do that.
Is done. Here's a little bit of Sean Miller kind of on this thought. He was asked after last night's game on those guys. He also included Dalen Swain in this conversation because we're not sure about his future. But
yeah, and he's been with him.
Right, this upperclassman class, if you will, the foundation that those dudes were able to leave in Sean Miller's first year in Austin.
I would say Purdue would probably shake their head when I said this, but tonight's game could have gone either way. And, we played at a very, very high level the last couple of weeks, gave ourselves a chance to compete for a Final Four. But when you see Jordan Pope sacrifice, Tremont Mark sacrifice, so many different guys do that, I think it's a great sign that they really grew and cared about each other. They cared about the University of Texas. And that's really what all of us try to do as a coach. So one final comment I gave those guys in the locker room is there'll come a day when I believe everybody in that locker room will watch us at Texas take this next step. And in large part, when we do, a big reason is the tone that they set in our first year. I think there's a lot of good things that have happened.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They set a pretty good tone for a team that people didn't expect to go near that far.
Yeah, excuse me, Buck. Yeah, the future's bright. I think it's impossible to not feel that way with this Texas basketball program with Sean Miller at the helm. And, those guys laid a nice foundation. And there's a lot more Miller believers with this tournament run than I think there were going in. And hopefully Texas invests a little bit more into basketball. And, man, I hope – and there was some talent on this roster. You don't make it to the Sweet 16. I don't care what seed you are. You don't get this far in the dance if you don't have some talent on your squad. But, man, I'm hoping next year's roster is only more talented and deeper. And then it's the same year in and year out moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, those guys will look back and say, we helped build what's going on here in Texas in basketball. And they did. That was a good first step by Sean Miller and his staff, too, of getting these guys. And then having a guy who's had a broken foot play for you in his last game, that's like I said, that hurts. Man, a rolled ankle hurts, much less a broken bone.
Yeah. Props to Jordan Pope, man. That
Absolutely.
was an impressive showing last night.
And that was impressive. That was impressive, too, by Mark at the time when he did that. I mean, a lot of adrenaline, a lot of flow, and you could hang in there. But, dude, that thing was turned. They showed that thing 2 times, and I was like, oh, that's got to hurt.
How good was he? 29 points,
yeah, he was really
15
good.
shooting, 5 of 7 from beyond the arc. I mean, he was the reason Texas was in it. Whenever the Longhorns needed a bucket in the second half, they just went to Team Arc and said, you figure it out. Like, we're not even going to set a screen for you. We're just one-on-one ISO against whoever is defending you and, pull up from the mid-range or cross him over, pull up from 3, whatever you want to. I mean,
dude, he had some herky-jerky shots, and I'm like, that's not going to go in. And they went smooth in. Someone bounced on the rim a couple times. He found a way to get it in.
I mean, he's a streaky shooter. We've known that, and he was on a heater last night. Did miss a couple down the stretch, but come on. The guy was 11 of 15 and 5 of 7 from the three-point line, so he was magnificent in this game. I mean, again, Texas did so many things right. A lot of our keys to victory they were able to accomplish.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was a great game plan for Texas, but just came up a little bit short. The clock struck midnight. Lady Luck not on Texas's side, and also I didn't tell you this, but I saw the refs taking a picture with Trey Flopman-Wren right after the game.
getting around him, putting their little Elite Eight, smacking it on the board with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, good job.
Yeah, they actually let Kaufman Wren. No, they let the refs do that instead of
Yeah,
him.
great.
No, they were taking a picture. Kaufman Wren was signing autographs. I mean, everyone was smiling. Everybody was in a good mood. So
yeah, I kind of knew that dude was going to be a problem. He'd been playing real physical over the last couple. He played physical like that all year, and he's not that big, but he's wide. He's got a wide body, and he knows how to play the game. He's talking about a guy who knows how to use the body that he has, not the height, but his bulk, and hook you and do things to you. Get his hands down there on your hip and move you around. He does that really, really well without getting caught.
He is a master baiter, Buck.
Oh, yeah.
He is able to bait foul calls from the refs all game long. And he's a senior. He started a bunch of games. Look, he's a very good player. I was very worried about that matchup going into the game last night. And
all of them played well. I mean, they're all good. They look like a veteran team that's played together.
Again, it was the preseason #1 team in the country. They're a 2 seed that won the Big Ten tournament championship. Like, that team is really freaking good. And the fact that Texas was able to play with them step for step last night, and literally the game was not decided until there was 0.7 seconds on the clock. These guys should be proud. It stings. It hurts. There are no moral victories in March, and I'm going to be thinking about this one for a long time. I had trouble sleeping last night. I was so mad with the way things went. But, again, a lot of reasons for optimism, a lot to be happy about. And, we talked about it yesterday. A lot of Longhorn fans felt like this team was playing with house money yesterday. And, again, you're not happy when the run comes to an end, but to be that competitive, to fight that much while you were banged up. I mean, 2 of your best players were playing through all sorts of stuff, and you're without.
You needed them badly. You need them to be 110% okay.
And Lassina Traore, like, if he was out there, maybe Texas wins, right? Like, that guy's a very good rebounder. Maybe Texas's best rebounder on the team. I know he's been out for like 6 weeks now, so they've gotten used to life without him. But against a team as big as Purdue, against a team that rebounds the way Purdue rebounds, wouldn't have hated having that guy out there too. So, look, that's basketball. That's how it goes. Guys get hurt. Sometimes it's a battle of attrition. But the overarching thought is there's a lot to be proud of, and I'm hoping those guys are holding their heads up high for what they were able to do.
Sure.
They galvanized Longhorn Nation, and they gave my crew, Buck, a few more fans.
They gave your crew. You got a few going into next year to start that thing off for sure. Now we'll just see how many they can buy right now. Go buy a few of them.
I was going to donate, but they put my ass way up in the rafters.
They got their donations gone.
So it's gone now. Oh, man. All right, we will shift gears here. We'll get to some of the other games. There were 3 other games last night in the NCAA tournament. The Buck had a couple of Gold Star locks for the people. Did go 1-1. Nice call on Illinois, but you did lose some units. We'll recap last night. We'll preview this coming weekend Sweet 16 action. And, we already have a Mets disaster. 1 game into the Major League Baseball season. And a very quick BBK news will tell you how the Mets screwed up yesterday. But before we go any further, how about another round of sponsor shout-outs?
Folks, I want to tell you about the rideproject.com. It is a 2,000-mile journey across the country led by our friend Matt King and powered by Gobundance and driven by one mission: raise $1 million and create direct impact in communities along the route. This isn't about comfort. It is about commitment, and Matt King is committed. He is a good old Texas boy that's doing it for America. He's not just doing it for the state of Texas. We know what people in this state do. If things get rough, they're right there with you. They will not turn their backs on you. And Matt King's not turning his back, not only on his state, but his country. And he's going to go 2,000 miles biking and give away $1 million along the way for a community, a family, whatever he finds and his staff finds in every state that they go through. Somebody's going to get part of that $1 million. And that's an incredible feat by him, 2,000 miles on a bike. And, folks, it's going from Mexico all the way to Canada, so he's not going to miss anybody, and he's going to be there for you. And the people of Texas are always there for everyone. That's just the way Texans are built. And I mean, this is an incredible feat by Matt to do that, going away from his family. And I don't even know how long this is going to take. But no matter how long it's going to take, he's going to do it. He's going to make this thing happen. The rideproject.com is where you go to donate for this ride that Matt is doing.
You know, Matt King reminds me of that scene in Old School where Will Ferrell's character, Frank the Tank, he gets a dart in his neck and he's like,
Oh yeah.
You're crazy, man. I like you, but you're crazy. That's Matt King. He's crazy for doing this, but what an admirable feat. 2,000-mile journey, raising $1 million plus to folks all across the U.S. of A. TheRideProject.com for more information. Also, a shout out to our guy, Mike McCall Custom Homes ATX. If you are looking to upgrade your home here in 2026, reach out to Mike and his great team at McCall Custom Homes. It's a father-son team with more than 4 decades of experience. So any kitchen remodel, any bathroom remodel, you want to add some life to your outdoor space, maybe an outdoor kitchen, you want to add on to your home, whatever you are thinking. Or, hey, they're custom home builders as well. So if you want to start from scratch, they do it all. They're A+ rated by the BBB, tons of 5-star reviews online. Great people, big Longhorn fans, Austin born and bred. McCallCustomHomesATX.com. Plus free estimates if you tell them you heard about them right here on Bucky and BK. You can call or text Mike directly, too, if you would like. 512-633-9580. It's McCall Custom Homes. We build value into your home.
I mean, seriously, the Sooners lose 14-0. They got T-balled last night. I mean, really?
They got
I went to a
T-ball
game. I went to a T-ball game before that. Watched my little grandson hit first swing, knocked it to the fence. Little lefty.
Let's go.
Oh, and he's a little old thing, man. He's a teeny. He's like his mama. He's a teeny little thing. Left gets up there, lefty, right through the middle, right to the fence. You know how far he got? First base.
You serious?
That's all they do. They stop at first. They never keep going.
They just don't know. Like he didn't know where to go after that.
Oh no,
so
they just thought once you run it out fat, once you hit that bag, you don't have to go for 2 or 3 or an inside the park. You just stop. It was great.
400-foot single last night for your grandson.
Yeah, it was fun, man. I love it because it only lasts an hour.
That's the dream right there. Well,
that is the
your
dream,
grandson, unfortunately for his sake, cannot enjoy an early bird CBD.
No, he cannot do that. No.
But you can.
Yes,
and
indeed.
If you're listening and you're 21 plus, you can also enjoy early bird CBD gummies. I was talking to our guy Eric at Early Bird yesterday, and he's like, man, y'all's listeners are all over this. They are super happy with this partnership, which means we're super happy with this partnership because y'all are delivering for us. Thank you for supporting Early Bird CBD. Keep it coming. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell everybody you know. That's what we're doing. These gummies and tinctures, they're fantastic. It's an Austin company. You're supporting a local business every time you buy an Early Bird product, but you're also supporting yourself, man. You want to take the edge off after a long day of work. You just want to chill this weekend and watch some sports. Maybe you have to go to your grandkids' soccer or t-ball game this weekend. Tell you what, you're going to enjoy things a little bit more if you have an Early Bird CBD gummy in the parking lot before you walk in.
There you go. Yeah.
Let me tell you. Love this stuff, man.
I'll tell you what, I definitely, it's definitely helped me out with some of the pains that I have from whether I'm out in the yard or just, if I get a round of golf, man, I do not want to be hurting the next day. And so far, so good with Early Bird. I'm just going to keep that up. Once again, it's good to get away from having to take a Vicodin or being, those deals are a little bit different than a gummy, than an Early Bird gummy. Those things work on you in a different way. I mean, that's how bad my back pain has been all my life, even after having, as much as I love this chair, to get that pain off the next day is something special. And now I've found something that's really worked, and Early Bird is helping me out. And people know what pain can do to you. It just changes your life. It changes your attitude every day. So if you don't want to wake up in pain, just give this a shot.
earlybirdcbd.com, promo code Bucky for 20% off your first order. All right, Buck, you had 2 unit plays on the other 3 Sweet 16 games that went down last night. You did go 1-1, but unfortunately your bigger play was the loss. You had Arkansas plus 7.5 against Arizona. I left that game early. I was hoping for a classic, right? Darius Acuff against Braden Burries and Coda Pete. And I think a lot of folks out there were picking the Arkansas upset and had that on their brackets. And that game was over early. I mean, just domination for Arizona. Arkansas could not get stops. And the Wildcats end up going for 100 in that game. I mean, it was just dominance from the opening.
Yeah,
team.
they're a big team. Arizona's a big, good-looking team that can shoot and do everything. They've got really skilled players, and their bigs are skilled too. Boy, are they good.
They don't really have a weakness. I mean, there's a
No.
reason a lot of folks were picking them to win it all going into March, and they have been very, very impressive. And, we played some Shaw Miller sound earlier where he's like at the end of a cut, just giving the coach speak, all best of luck to Purdue the rest of the way. To hell with that. I hope Arizona beats Purdue by 100 tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think it'll be 100, but if Zona plays the way that they did against Arkansas, then they've got a chance to run the Boilermakers out of the building in the Elite Eight.
What did they do to Avco? What did they do to that kid?
Well, Arkansas scored 88 points. Like, you score that many, you're going to win a lot of games. And it wasn't the most efficient night for Acuff, but he had 28 points. Like 8 of 19 shooting. They made him work for everything. But, Arkansas shot 48% as a team. Problem is, Arizona shot 64% as a team. You will win 0 games this time of the year, any time of the year, if you allow your opponent to shoot 64% from the floor and 63% from three-point land.
Bad matchup, huh? Bad matchup.
Arizona shot 39 free throws. I mean, defense was optional for Arkansas last night, and their season comes to an end. And I did enjoy the hate watch for Arkansas. I won't lie. I was obviously still mad about what happened to Texas, but that did help things a little bit watching one of the Horns' biggest rivals just completely crap the bed in their Sweet 16. I will give you credit. You didn't have as many units on this one, but you did pick Illinois to upset Houston. And
I didn't even need the points.
Yeah, that game wasn't as much of a blowout, obviously, but it was a stunner. I mean, a double-digit victory for Illinois in Houston, 65-55, the final score. The Cougs, who, of course, played for the national championship last year, they bow out in the Sweet 16. And how about Illinois versus Iowa for a spot in the Final Four?
Gross.
Yeah.
I know Illinois is going to beat them. But Iowa can shoot the three now. They can shoot the three ball.
Iowa, man, their coach, Ben
And so can Illinois. Illinois can shoot the three ball, too.
Illinois is a great offense, and they won it with defense last night. Again, 65-55.
Yeah.
That kind of tells the story. I mean, Houston looked lost. I have never seen a Kelvin Sampson team look that discombobulated.
On defense, even at times. How about them defensively?
Yeah, and on offense, too. I mean, it's this Kelvin Sampson team has had a better offense than most previous Kelvin Sampson teams.
Yeah, I mean, is he ready to turn this thing over to his kid?
I don't know. I always thought he would try to go out on top. I mean, a lot of guys do try to go out on top, but it's not easy to win a national championship. And at some point, Kelvin is going to turn it over to Kellen Sampson, who's been an assistant on that staff for a while, and we'll see if they have an Auburn fall off there. But I don't know, man. That was a stunner. And it was a choke job by Houston. Give Illinois credit, of course. They earned that one. And that 17-0 run they went on in the second half was impressive to watch. But, I mean, Houston, look, the 1 seed in that region was out with Florida. All they had to do was win, and they would have played a 9 seed in the Elite Eight, and they would have gotten that game in their own backyard. And they just flat out laid an egg yesterday. So, Illinois is good. I mean, Mirkovic, that guy can play. Wagner's a stud who's going to be a top 10 pick. They got Peja's kid who's very good.
Peja's kid shoots a lot. He doesn't care, man. He just goes.
He's Peja's kid. He should shoot a lot.
Yeah, he should.
I mean, his dad was one of the best three-point shooters in NBA history. So anytime Stojakovic is shooting a basketball, I'm going to assume it's going in. That's a good thing for the team that he's on. And how about Iowa? Real quick, I mean, 77-71. They were down that entire game, and that was a road game for them. There were so many Husker fans at NRG or at Toyota Center last night, and Iowa didn't take their first lead in the game until there was 2 minutes left, and then they put it away. There was a fast break dunk where Nebraska only had 4 guys on the court, which I have no idea how that happens in the final minutes of a close game in the tournament. But Iowa, man, their coach Ben McCollum, it's his first year. He is the Kurt Signetti of college basketball. That guy wins everywhere he goes. And Signetti, he's started at a lower level and kept working his way up and finally got a big job in a major conference. And in year 1, I mean, I don't think Iowa's going to win the national championship, but the fact that they are still dancing,
Absolutely,
incredibly
man.
impressive. I mean, if
Yeah,
you're
he said, and the Nebraska coach was saying, I don't know about the rule about having 4 on the court. Generally, they'll let us know if we got 6 out there, they'll count them up. I'm like, that's your job, coach.
Yeah, he took the blame. I mean, Fred Hoiberg took the blame. He's like, look, miscommunication, that's on me. I'm the coach. That can't happen. And he did say, because he's right. Like, if there are 6 guys on the floor, the ref will be like, you got to take somebody out. You can't play with 6. And I don't know the rule either.
There's a lot of times they won't even put it on play. There's a lot of teams sometimes that go out there with 6. They could put it on play, but generally the official will say, coach, you got 6.
Yeah, you can't.
Somebody's got to go.
Nice try, jerk. You can't do that. And, it was only 4 for Nebraska.
Well, they're not going to tell you, coach, you only have 4. They're saying, okay, play ball. Maybe this is something new.
Hire a dumbass coach. We're not the dumbass ref here to help you with this.
Yes.
Figure it out. But, man, if you're Carolina or Kansas, we'll see what happens with Bill Self, or anybody who's looking for a real deal coach. I would think Carolina's going to swing for somebody a little bit more proven than Ben McCollum, but this guy, I mean, maybe he stays at Iowa, but he's young enough to where.
Google me.
Yeah, I think, he honestly could say that. You Google Ben McCollum, you see that he has won everywhere he's been. He has not given us the Google me quote.
Google me.
Until he's got to win a natty first before he goes
Google me.
all that.
Yeah, hadn't given us one of those yet, but maybe he will soon. All right, Buck, before we got to wrap up a little early because unfortunately I have a plane to catch, but any Gold Star locks in these 4 Sweet 16 games tonight?
What do we got tonight?
In order. St. John's versus Duke. The Blue Devils a 6.5-point favorite.
I'll take St. John for 50,000 units.
Upset?
I'll know the points. I'll take the points.
Just underdog. Okay. You've got Alabama, Michigan. The Wolverines 8.5-point favorites.
I'll take 50,000 unit play on Michigan because that's my national champion.
Okay. Yeah, there's some thought that maybe that Holloway kid could be playing tonight. The drug dealer himself for Bama.
Is he out of jail? I mean, I know he's off campus, but is he out of jail?
I think he got a temporary restraining order. So,
well, he's got another year of eligibility too if he stays in jail long enough.
You've got Michigan State, UConn, a 2-3 matchup. UConn a 1.5-point favorite. That's as close as it gets right there.
Yeah, I think I will not mess with that.
And then last but not least, Rick Barnes in Tennessee taking on Iowa State. The Cyclones 3.5-point favorites.
I'm going to take Rick Barnes in this one. I'm going to take Tennessee with an upset. I'll take 50,000 unit play on Coach Barnes.
Betting on Rick Barnes in the tournament, huh?
Yes.
Godspeed, my friend. Godspeed.
He will move on. He will continue to move on in this. He's gonna surprise. That team's gonna, because they're not really expected to do all that. So this is when you least expect it from him. Expect it,
Real quick, tomorrow's Elite 8 lines are already out. Any play on Iowa, Illinois, the Illini 6.5-point favorites, and then Arizona.
That's 100,000 unit play on the Fighting Illini.
Okay, love it. And then Arizona opened up as a 6.5-point favorites against the Cheaters.
Yeah, let's go ahead and play 100,000 units on Arizona.
From your lips to God's ears, my friend.
Yeah, and I'm probably going to end up having to change that Arizona, Michigan national championship. Are they in the same bracket? They're not. Did they meet for national championship?
No, they're on the same side. So Arizona and Michigan, if they both get there, that'd be a national semifinal.
Yeah, I may have to think about that one too.
Yeah. All right, real quick. The Mets, Buck, opening day was yesterday, and the Mets season, I don't want to say it's already over, but they've already pulled a Mets. It didn't take very long. Hell, we didn't even get to the first pitch on opening day before the New York Metropolitans screwed something up.
Somebody fall from the stands. Did somebody fall from the stands and die?
Thankfully, no one fell from the stands and died. The Mets did win the baseball game yesterday. They beat the Pirates, so the team got the job done. But
yes,
the national anthem before the game.
Oh no!
Well, here's a little 10-second snippet. I'll just tell you right off the bat, these are not the words.
So proudly we hail, we're so gallantly streamed.
Nope, that is not how that goes.
I can't accept that.
Go back and practice again. And this time
Yeah.
you'll have to do it at your daughter's recital first.
One more time, just audio only here.
So proudly we hail, we're so gallantly streaming.
At the twilight's last gleam. I mean, what happened to the twilight part there?
Yeah, we don't care about the twilight anymore. There's no more gleaming going on.
No. We're going to skip that part.
Must not be the last gleaming. Maybe there's a few more gleamings left, so we can just save that for another time.
Way to go, Mets.
Way to go, Mets.
You know, that wouldn't happen at Yankee Stadium.
You don't think so?
No.
That's opening day, too. You've got both teams on the field. You've got the giant American flag. You've got the flyover ready to go. I mean, this is it. And that's the guy that you hire. He can't even get the words right.
Dude, what was the rest of it like? Can I pick that up somewhere today?
Yeah, I think he got the rest of the words right and everything was fine. I mean, the voice was fine. It's not like he was voice cracking or
No.
Trying to be like Fergie out there at the NBA All-Star game, but you got to get the words. That's more important than sounding good.
Yeah, the words have to be. Yeah, the words are important.
Words are important, but yeah, still better than
Right? Did
Fergie.
the Rangers win?
No, the Rangers and Astros both lost yesterday, so season's over for both teams.
They're done. So they're done. Oh,
It's over.
how about this? Did the Dodgers win?
Is the Pope Catholic?
Yes.
Yeah, Dodgers 8-2 over the D-Bags of Arizona.
Wow.
All right, unfortunately, we've got to I have to leave early because my flight leaves in like an hour and a half, so I'm already pushing it. But
You and your 175,000 are on their way back now. Is that what it is?
we'll see.
Oh, you didn't get to see them because you were so far up.
I know. Before the game, I did have a couple of brewskis. I'm dressed up. I'm wearing a blazer and slacks.
Nice.
And I'm like, all the rest of the press is getting to the stadium early to just do some work. And I'm like, I'm going to go out to the bars and drink with the people, baby.
Yeah, and they're out there with their
people
little polos. They get their little logos on, and you're dressed up.
Yeah, some people recognize me, but some people are like, I'm like, are you a tech? Like, hook them. And they're like, why are you wearing that? And I'm like, well, I gotta work. And they're like, well, shouldn't you be working? I'm like, I'm gonna have a cold beer too.
There you go.
I don't take the pressure off my work. All right, my friend. Well, great show. I'll see you back in the ATX.
All right, buddy. Have a safe trip back.
Thank y'all. Thank you. And thanks everyone for tuning in. Everyone enjoy the weekend, and we will talk to y'all on Monday.
Welcome.
Hook 'em.